My name is Jessica Harper. I am 27 years old. On the night of my engagement party, a single phone call destroyed everything I thought I knew about my life. My fiancé disappeared without a trace, and I was left with nothing but questions. 3 days later, the police found him. But when they told me where he had been, my blood ran cold. Because he wasn't just missing. Before I tell you the truth, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tell me your country in the comments. Now, let's begin. The house was glowing with warm lights, soft music filling every corner. Laughter echoed through the rooms, glasses clinked, and everyone was celebrating us. Me and Ryan Collins, the man I was about to marry. He stood beside me, his hand wrapped around mine like he never wanted to let go. His smile was calm, confident, safe. "Are you happy?" he asked softly, leaning closer so only I could hear. I smiled, my eyes already filling with tears. More than anything. And I meant it. We had built everything together. Years of love, struggles, late nights, big dreams. And now, it all led to this moment. Our future. Perfect. Too perfect. The night went on with dancing, photos, endless congratulations. My parents were proud. His friends couldn't stop teasing him. Everything felt like a dream. At one point, Ryan squeezed my hand and whispered, "Let's get out of here for a bit." I laughed. "Already tired of your own party?" He smirked. "Never. Just want a moment alone with my future wife." My heart melted. We quietly slipped out the back door. The night air was cool, peaceful. The noise from inside faded into silence. We walked down the driveway, just talking, laughing, enjoying the moment. Then his phone rang. He stopped. I noticed something shift in his expression. Just for a second. "Sorry," he said quickly. "I need to take this." I nodded. "Go ahead." He stepped a few feet away. I watched him. At first, he spoke normally, calm, casual. Then his voice lowered. His posture changed. Tense. "What do you mean, tonight?" he said quietly. My smile faded. Something wasn't right. "No, that's not possible," he added, his voice tighter now. My heart started beating faster. After a few seconds, he hung up. I walked closer. "Ryan, what's wrong?" He looked at me, but something in his eyes felt distant. "I need to go," he said suddenly. "What?" I frowned. "Go where?" "I'll explain later," he said quickly. "It's urgent." "Ryan, this is our party," I said, confused. "What's going on?" He grabbed my hands. "I promise I'll come back," he said. "Just trust me." Something inside me twisted. "Trust you with what?" I asked. But he didn't answer. He kissed my forehead, then turned and left. Just like that. I stood there, frozen, confused, uneasy. He didn't come back. Hours passed. Guests started leaving. The music stopped. My parents kept asking questions I couldn't answer. I kept calling him. No response. By morning, he was gone. Completely. No calls. No messages. Nothing. 3 days later, the police found him alive. But everything changed when they told me where he had been. An abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. My heart dropped. "What was he doing there?" I asked, my voice shaking. The officer hesitated, then said, "That's what we're trying to understand." Something felt wrong. Very wrong. They brought me in the next day. I walked into the station, my hands cold, my chest tight. They led me to an interrogation room. And there he was. Ryan, sitting on a metal chair. Bruised, exhausted, but alive. Relief hit me for a split second. "Ryan!" I rushed forward, but he didn't move. Didn't react. He just stared at the table. "Ryan, what happened?" I whispered. Silence. One of the officers stepped forward. "He's not talking." My heart sank. "What do you mean he's not talking?" I asked. "He refuses to explain why he was there," the officer said. I turned back to him. "Ryan, please," I begged. "Talk to me." Slowly, he lifted his head, but his eyes, they felt different, cold, empty. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "For what?" I asked, my voice breaking. Silence again. The officer stepped closer. "Tell her," he said firmly. Ryan closed his eyes for a moment, then finally spoke. "I didn't disappear," he said. The room went still. "What do you mean?" I whispered. He swallowed. "I was meeting someone." My heart started racing. "Who?" I asked. He hesitated, then said it. "The person who hired me." Everything froze. "Hired you for what?" I asked slowly. His voice dropped. "To get close to you." The world collapsed. "No," I whispered. "This isn't funny." But no one was smiling. "This was planned," he continued quietly, "from the beginning." Tears filled my eyes. "You're lying," I said, shaking my head. "You love me." Silence. "That wasn't part of the job," he said. My chest tightened. "Then what was?" I asked, barely breathing. He looked straight at me. "To destroy your family." The room spun. My legs felt weak. Why? I whispered. Who would do this? The officer stepped in. That's what we asked him, he said. And he finally gave us a name. My heart pounded so loud it hurt. Who? I asked. The officer looked at me, then said slowly, Your brother. Everything went silent. No. I whispered. No, that's impossible. But deep down, something cracked. The memories, the tension, the jealousy I never wanted to see. The officer continued. We traced the payments, the messages. It all leads back to him. I felt like I couldn't breathe. They brought him in later that day. My brother, Ethan Harper. He walked into the room calmly, too calmly. He looked at me and smiled. Why? I asked, tears falling down my face. His expression didn't change. You really don't know? He said. Know what? I whispered. His voice turned cold. Everything was always about you. My heart broke. You had the perfect life, he continued. Perfect parents, perfect future. That's not true. I tried to speak, but he cut me off. And then you found him, he said, glancing at Ryan. The perfect fiancé. His jaw tightened. And I was just nothing. Silence filled the room. So you did this? I asked, shaking. He nodded slightly. I wanted to take it all away, he said. Tears streamed down my face. You ruined everything, I whispered. He leaned closer. No, he said quietly. I just showed you the truth. My world shattered completely. Days later, the court gave its decision. Life imprisonment, for both of them. Justice was served, but nothing felt right. The man I loved never existed. The person who betrayed me was my own brother. And just like that, I lost everything. My love, my family, my reality. And no matter how much time passes, that truth will never let me go. Days passed after the trial, but nothing inside me felt real anymore. The world kept moving, people kept talking, life kept going, but I felt stuck in that moment. That moment when everything broke, I stopped answering calls, stopped going outside. Even the sunlight felt chujim, like it didn't belong to me anymore. The house was too quiet. Every corner reminded me of something. A memory, a laugh, a lie. Ryan's voice, Ethan's smile, both of them felt like ghosts now. At night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw it all again. The engagement party, the phone call, his face when he said, that wasn't part of the job. Those words echoed in my head over and over again, like a wound that wouldn't close. One evening, my mother came into my room. She sat beside me quietly, her hands trembling. I don't understand, she whispered. How did we not see this? I didn't answer, because I was asking myself the same question. How did I not see it? The small things, the moments that didn't make sense. Ryan asking too many questions about my family's finances. Ethan acting distant, cold. Especially after Ryan came into my life. All the signs were there. I just chose not to see them. I feel like I lost both of my children, my mother said, her voice breaking. That was the moment something inside me shifted. Because I realized I wasn't the only one who lost everything, but I was the only one who knew the full truth. A few weeks later, I received a call from the police. There's something you need to hear, the officer said. My heart tightened. What is it? I asked. It's about Ryan, he replied. He's finally ready to talk. Everything. A cold feeling ran through me. I already know enough, I said quietly. There was a pause. No, the officer said. You don't. That's what scared me. The next day, I went back to the station. The same room, the same chair, and him. Ryan looked worse than before. Tired, broken. But this time he didn't avoid my eyes. Why now? I asked, standing in front of him. Why talk now? He took a slow breath. Because it didn't go the way it was supposed to, he said. My chest tightened. What does that mean? He looked down at his hands. The plan wasn't just to ruin your family, he said slowly. Silence filled the room. Then what was it? I asked. His voice dropped. It was to take everything and disappear. My heart started racing. Explain, I said. He swallowed. Your brother didn't just want revenge, he said. He wanted control. I frowned. Control over what? Ryan looked at me. Your inheritance. Everything went still. What? I whispered. He knew your parents were planning to transfer everything to you after the wedding, Ryan said. Properties, accounts, all of it. My mind started spinning. That's not, I tried to speak. It's true, he interrupted. He found out months ago. My hands started hurting. So what was the plan? I asked. Ryan hesitated, then said it. I was supposed to marry you, gain your trust, get access to everything. Each word felt heavier than the last. And then, I whispered. He closed his eyes for a moment. And then, you disappear. The air left my lungs. No, I stepped back. That's not possible. His voice broke slightly. The warehouse wasn't for me, he said. Silence. It was for you. My body froze. That night when I left the party, he continued, they told me it was time. Tears filled my eyes. You were going to take me there? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He nodded slowly, but something changed. I looked at him, confused. What? He finally met my eyes. You, he said. My heart tightened painfully. I wasn't supposed to care, he continued. It was all fake at first. A tear rolled down my cheek. But then it wasn't, he said quietly. Silence filled the room. I couldn't do it, he added. That's why I went alone. I shook my head. You expect me to believe that? I asked. I don't expect anything, he replied. I'm just telling the truth. The truth? I repeated bitterly. You built a lie from the moment you met me. I know, he said. And now you want forgiveness? I don't deserve it, he said quietly. That answer hit differently. Because for the first time, he wasn't defending himself. He wasn't lying. He was just broken, just like me. I wiped my tears slowly. So everything we had, I said, was it real? He didn't answer immediately, and that silence was louder than anything. Finally he spoke. It became real, he said, but too late. I closed my eyes. That was it. That was the final piece. Not a love story, not a betrayal, but something in between. Something twisted, something tragic. I turned and walked toward the door. Jessica, he called softly. I stopped, but I didn't turn around. I'm sorry, he said. I stood there for a moment, then finally spoke. So am I. And then I left. For the last time. Months passed after that. The case was closed. The world moved on. But I didn't go back to who I was. I couldn't. Because that version of me trusted too easily, loved too deeply, and never saw the danger standing right in front of her. But I survived, not just the betrayal. Not just the truth. I survived them. And slowly, piece by piece, I started rebuilding my life. Not the same life. Not the perfect one I once believed in, but a real one. A stronger one. Because sometimes you don't get justice the way you imagined. Sometimes you don't get your old life back, but you do get something else. The truth and the strength to live with it. And even now, late at night, when everything is quiet, I still think about him, about my brother, about the life that almost was. And I realize something that still sends a chill down my spine. The most dangerous people are not strangers. They're the ones who know you best. And no matter how much time passes, that truth will never let me go.